At the end, well, actually, let's not talk about the end.
Yeah, you don't want the spoiler alert.
Yeah, there's not much of a spoiler. The movie sucks.
So they're never going to see each other without that number, and now she doesn't have the number. What incredible drama. That is such a millennial problem. You're utilizing this as a crutch and everything. I'm like, oh, give the guy a break.
And they just met each other that day.
Right, yeah.
I'm a single man, if any ladies are interested. I'm a single man. Hello and welcome to The Real Generation Gap. My name is Shane Schildmeyer.
And I'm Fred Satilli.
And today we are reviewing the #1 rom-com on Netflix, Love at First Sight.
Just as there is comfort food, there is comfort film. We all need good nutrition, but sometimes we just need a donut. There are many sources of good food, the food we need for a serious life. There are plenty of serious films. However, there are donut shops everywhere you turn. People seem to need them. Most of life is so serious for many people, but there's often a need for a respite from that intensity. The movie Love at First Sight was the perfect sweet treat. Sometimes the sweetness of a romantic comedy is just what the emotional doctor ordered. It often works for me. Now, Shane, okay, you picked this film, and I watched it.
Yeah.
I was not overly impressed. What did you think?
I wasn't impressed either. I actually kind of hated it. I saw, we were talking about what are we doing next, what movie, and I was just kind of quick looking at like what's popular, and I saw that Netflix, like the day we talked about it, this had just came out, and everyone was saying it's the #1 rom-com on Netflix. So I was like, let's do it. I love rom-coms.
You are a rom-com guy.
I
You're
love
a guy
rom-coms. I love a good rom-com.
You like to hit the donut shop.
I like to laugh. I like romance. I don't mind crying.
Yeah, there's
a little
nobody
bit
I like
here and
more
there.
than Melissa McCarthy.
Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah, she's a female comedian. Her movies are just hilarious. Melissa
yeah,
McCarthy, right?
Yeah.
So I'm ready for that.
Yeah. And
I want to see high-speed comedy.
Did not deliver.
No jokes.
So when I watched this, I didn't laugh once.
No.
I didn't laugh not one time. I maybe smirked a little bit here and there, but I didn't find it funny at all. Did you find it?
No.
Any moments funny?
No. And I really want that.
Yeah.
I mean, I want the comedy more than the romance.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, like a Melissa McCarthy, like physical comedy and sight gags and clever ideas,
and even the romance was just so corny. Nothing felt authentic to me, and that's what's important in a rom-com, right? It's got to feel real. You got to feel the real attraction between these two people,
and you got to love them too.
You got to love them too. There's got to be a reason to love them. Nothing drew me in this story. Nothing drew me in. It's about a girl. Her parents are splitting up. She's on her way to a wedding, her dad's wedding. She's flying back to the States, right? And
she's flying to England, to London.
I'm sorry, she's flying to London from the States, but he's flying to his mom's funeral.
Right.
And they meet on the plane, and it's love at first sight. She needs a charger. He helps her out, and
that's another element of the movie. This is the real generation gap.
Yeah.
So we've watched like a war movie with guys in a submarine with depth charges going around them. This is a movie is based on her being careless with charging her phone. She's got a bad battery in her phone.
Yeah.
Her phone, when he gives her his phone number, she types it in, but that's when the phone clicks out.
Yeah, she drops it.
It's like
she drops it. Yeah. She drops it, and when she drops it, not only does her battery die, but her phone shatters, so she can't access his number anymore. But somehow they find each other time and time again.
Yeah, they have to go.
Yeah.
He gives her the number just as they're forced to go their separate ways.
Yeah,
exactly. So they're never going to see each other without that number, and now she doesn't have the number. What incredible drama.
Yeah.
Like, that's like the word, like, that is such a millennial problem.
And it's not even realistic. Like, you would have got her Instagram on the plane. You would have got her number on the plane. You wouldn't wait till the very last second we're about to go separate ways. That's just not realistic in my eyes.
Right, because they were quite smitten already.
Yeah.
It wasn't like they just realized this and then they were separating. They were already, weren't they doing like a pinky promise or some kind of thing like that? Like,
I don't even recall. I was so sucked out of this movie.
yeah, they had some kind of corny like connection thing, like.
Yeah, and there were some real, like, I'm a single man, if any ladies are interested. I'm a single man, so there were some... that
answers a big question. Okay.
there were some...
More than one person asked. Yeah.
There were some realistic things to dating, I think. Like when she's talking about how she hates mayonnaise. And I think that's funny because, we're always looking for that person who also doesn't like mayonnaise.
That's me.
Yeah.
Right. Mayonnaise is kryptonite.
Yeah. And like,
I identified with that. I think that was the biggest connection. I was like, yes, I could see that. The mayonnaise issue. Like I turned into Monk. You know what I mean? Like, right. No mayo.
Yeah.
We're going to be okay together.
Yeah. But I think that was a little realistic. We're kind of always looking for that person who matches our little quirky, weird things that are each about us. And she was looking for that person who didn't like mayonnaise. Did he like mayonnaise? I don't remember what he said.
Yeah, once again.
So
it was so unimportant.
Yeah, if that didn't even play into it, I don't even remember if he additionally didn't like mayonnaise.
We did a thing where they dropped the atomic bomb.
Yeah.
Recently, a review, right?
Yeah.
So the mayonnaise issue, and all their issues were like that.
Yeah.
Their problems that they had with each other were so small.
So minuscule. And there's no real development. Like they have their like little internal problems. Like she's not okay with her dad getting remarried, and then he's coming to terms with his mom passing away, which I can relate to because I've gone through both of those. I've had my mom pass away from cancer, and then my dad remarried shortly after. So I can feel with them kind of there. But the way they portray it, it's like...
Well, everybody's different.
Everybody's different.
So right. Your experience didn't have to be their experience.
No, it doesn't.
But there was something that I was really happy about.
What's that?
And that was that the girl who was alienated from her father, she didn't like her father, she didn't want to go, she didn't want to meet the wife, and she just had a whole negative thing, and she had that real like dismissive, childish, like, oh, I'm so over it, or something like that kind of a deal. But in the end, she finds her love for her father.
Yes.
And the two of them make like a major, like if nothing else good happened in the whole trip, the fact that she appreciated him and she realized that he was a wonderful guy and that he loved her and that they were going to have a relationship for the rest of their life. So that was the really feel-good thing for me in the whole movie.
Okay.
Now, there was a feel-good thing for you, too, in there. And that was the relationship that the boys' parents had.
Yeah, I thought that was like the most genuine relationship in the whole film. The guy's parents, they're both like thespian theater nerds. Just the way they interacted seemed authentic to me.
To me too.
Yeah,
I believed that.
Yeah, exactly. That's
like it was like those people really do love each other.
That was the most authentic.
And the way they looked at each other and everything, and that was.
I didn't buy the dad and daughter relationship until towards the end, like you said. Their communication was weird. It just seemed like a movie they slapped together real quick.
People do have childish relationships with their family.
Oh no, absolutely.
They do have immature, childish relationships. I'm guilty of this myself.
Yeah.
Somebody did something and you're never going to get over it. And, it's really bad.
Absolutely, but I don't know. It just didn't feel authentic for me. But there was a line I wanted to see what you thought about this line.
Approximately 17.6% of people will walk away from the love of their life.
What did you catch on to that at
See,
all?
I really liked that.
Okay.
I really liked that because that was one of the things. The math nerd kid, like
he's like a nerd for numbers.
He was a statistician. He was going to college for statistical stuff, and he knew the facts and figures, everything, the percentage of everything. He knew what she was going to say statistically. Like you got a 60% chance of picking the chicken over the shrimp or whatever. Like
I've got a 20% chance of finding her without her number and whatever. Yeah.
So because I like things like the TV show Columbo, right, where there's something like the guy's a little quirky. This guy, that was his little quirky thing. It was almost like his superpower. It made him seem real really real to me. I always imagine that everybody, at some percentage, even if it's 1%, is on the autistic spectrum.
Yeah.
Like everybody has their thing, like they just have to have everything exactly this way, or they're like, I'm doing this the whole time we're talking. I'm like, making sure the corners are this way. And so the fact that he was like that, that did endear me to him. It was like, well, he does have this like human element that he couldn't control. And of course,
and that's what was human about him. It's something he could control. Numbers you can control.
Right. He did the one that was his safety zone.
Yeah, exactly.
And of course, like any good girlfriend, that was the thing she hated. She's like, you fall back on this and it's not real and you're not being genuine and you're utilizing this as a crutch and everything. I'm like, oh, give the guy a break.
And they just met each other that day.
Right. Yeah, right. There's like a giant psychoanalysis of his whole, that's a result of the writer knowing everything, but the character shouldn't.
Yeah. Do you feel this movie, this script is realistic or like realistic? Do you think it's relatable to most people? To me, it felt like a Disney movie made for teens.
Right. Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, like they're both supposed to play 21-year-olds. Dude looks like he's like 30.
Nobody over 21 would relate to this because by the time you're 25, you've been through enough that you'd be like, forget it. I'm moving on. I don't have time for this.
It's kind of like that innocence to love.
You know, the script was good. The story was good. Maybe you're the film school guy. Maybe it was just, I'm not saying the actors weren't good. They did their parts, but there was some element of sincerity that was missing.
Yeah, I just feel like there was no...
It was very flat.
There was no development. There was no struggle for them. They kept finding each other so easily.
Right.
There was no struggle for them. They have one little fight, which didn't make sense to me because she's telling him, I want you to be yourself. And then he acts himself. And then she's like...
He goes to kiss her and she backs off. Yeah. It's like, you asked him. Talk about mixed signals.
Yeah. And then they go their separate ways again. But and there it is. She leaves her backpack. And then that's how he finds her again. Like, no struggle to find each other.
Right. The giant clue in my entire ID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there was more internal development in each character, but not development that brought them together in a typical rom-com. There was no struggle for them to overcome together, I feel like.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I didn't think it was a great movie. I'm not saying nobody should watch it. Somebody might really like it.
Yeah, like my nieces or...
Right, yeah, right. Somebody in high school.
Yeah, in high school, yeah. People with bad taste in movies.
It's interesting because you and I are talking about this, but when I saw this movie, I said, is it me? Like, why am I not sort of getting it?
Yeah.
It's the number one thing, right?
Yeah.
It's somebody's... So I talked to a couple different friends of mine about this whole issue, and... It was because really you're the romantic comedy fan guy.
I love romantic comedies.
I like war pictures. But I talked to one friend, and she said that she only watches these kind of movies because she doesn't have any more room in her life for like horror or aggression or violence or anything like that.
To be honest, that's kind of why I like rom-coms, It takes you out of the darkness of the world, and you get to slip away for a while and
so
be
this
happy.
is what I said in the intro, the comfort food thing. This is for somebody, this is the sweet treat, right? This is the comfort food. This is the people that, they come home, they eat a bag of cookies while they watch TV or something. It's comfort food, a big bowl of macaroni and cheese or something.
Yeah.
And it was interesting that people are like that. I'm not going to say this in a negative way. It's like it's sort of an addiction, but addiction is the wrong word. It's a choice, and you're choosing the nice thing. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to me that people do that, and that there are people that it's legitimately what they need, what they want. They know how to do it.
Little feel
it's
good.
Not destructive. It's not like they're taking heroin or something.
Yeah.
This is our little escapism thing. So I kind of really liked that.
Yeah.
I liked talking to her.
Yeah.
I felt good about it, and because she's close in age to me, she said, Fred, my love of these movies goes all the way back to Please Don't Eat the Daisies.
And I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, but it's a 60s, a movie from the 60s. Now, of course, in those days, it was really, really different. The culture was really, really different. But she had a rough life, and she escaped into movies this way. And I thought that was kind of beautiful and neat and necessary.
Yeah.
It was like, wow, they're providing something that somebody really can use in a good way, in a therapeutic way.
Yeah.
And it's entertaining. And You know, I'm a real sentimental softie. I mean, I'm messed up if there's a romantic thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, you know.
Yeah. You know, I get sucked into like that same mindset. Like when we saw Sound of Freedom, I was not in the mindset. I was not in the mood. I was at work. I wanted to relax and not be amped up. So I get that. Like when people come home, they want to watch something happy. They've been at work all day. They were in traffic for 2 hours. They want something happy. But this wasn't it for me. This is almost like a chick flick, like a wannabe rom-com made for chicks. I don't know. Like it was just so corny. High school girls, maybe. I don't know.
In talking to other people also,
Yeah.
because I did. And one of the things that came up that I found was real interesting was people now, because of the internet, they present themselves any way they want.
Oh, yeah.
And they may be wearing any number of masks.
Oh, yeah.
So you got somebody that they're on their best behavior, and they themselves may believe that that's them. Like they believe their own story. You know, I'm a guy who likes this and that and this. Meanwhile, you don't.
Yeah.
You don't. I guess if I did, maybe I would put my best foot forward.
Yeah, you got to.
But it's kind of deceitful and it's kind of weird, and it leads to eventually the cards are going to be on the table and you're going to realize you're wasting your time or whatever it is. So the rom-com now is not in the environment when I was young. You sort of dated like the girl next door, like somebody in your town, somebody in your high school class, somebody that you went to a local college with, where everybody knew you. The people who did the false face were the ones that went away to college, because when they went, I had a friend who, all the way through high school, he was a terrific singer. And all the way through high school, he was a terrific singer. And his father was actually an opera singer in real life. And this guy was just one of us and everything like that. And he went to college in Boston. And when he got there, he became a singing waiter in a gay bar. And he outed.
Yeah.
And it was like, wow, we never knew this guy.
Yeah.
We never knew this guy, and we were kind of happy for him that he was able to, but he totally exploded out.
Be himself
he
somewhere
was
else. Yeah.
Instantly.
Yeah.
You know, by October, he was full on out.
Yeah.
So, but he didn't do it at home with his high school kids. So that was one example of somebody that was a little bit different. But mostly people they had to be forthright because they were in the same town. They had the same group of friends. They went to the same church.
If I didn't know, my friend knew how you really were, or my cousin knows how you really are, or whatever, because someone knows you.
Now you don't know the names of the neighbors on your street.
No.
You used to know every person on the street.
No. Yeah.
And so dating was different then. Now you have this ability to be a big phony.
Yeah.
You have an ability to say or do anything. I mean, I've known guys who like rented a car. Yeah, this is my Porsche, you know, or whatever. It's like, what are you doing? I knew one guy who actually took a girl to a construction site where they were building a house.
He said, "This is my house."
This is my house in Malibu.
Oh,
you know,
my gosh.
She was like, "Wow, you're going to look at this place and everything."
Yeah.
It was at night. There was nobody there. I was like, that was the most deceitful thing I have ever heard. That was the weirdest, most manipulative, ugly, weird.
Yeah.
How did you even think of that?
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Do you think these characters had masks on?
Not at all. They were portrayed forthrightly.
Their authentic selves.
But also in the same vein, what I said, and I put it in these notes, is that they really didn't know themselves. They didn't. And I mean, most young people, they really kind of don't.
Yeah.
But it was interesting that they're having this love at first sight. They think that they're so well matched and everything, but really they didn't know enough about themselves to even be honest. Like the things that they had in common, like the mayonnaise, were so superfluous.
Yeah.
Like I don't have a relationship built on that.
Yeah.
It's much heavier and deeper, and it's based on knowing who I am, and she knows who she is, and that kind of thing. And so I think, you know,
at the end. Well, actually, let's not talk about the end.
Yeah, you don't want the spoiler alert.
Yeah, there's not much of a spoiler. The movie sucks.
Well, I really don't want to say that. I'm not qualified to say that because it's not my genre. I'm not the comfort food guy. I'm not the guy, like, since I'm talking about food, I'm not a foodie.
Okay.
I eat to live. I don't live to eat. But there are people who live to eat, and they want to eat something that is delicious for some reason that I don't even know. Another good example for me like that is wine. To me, it all tastes like lighter fluid.
Okay.
So there are people that are real experts with this.
Yes.
So for them to say, "What did you think of the wine?" You're asking the wrong guy.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Tasted like lighter fluid.
So I watched this with one of my friends, and she was saying that I lacked a female perspective when I'm watching this. And she's saying, oh, the guy's handsome, he's so kind and thoughtful. And that might be what draws, females, younger women in to watch this. But I just didn't buy it.
What you're saying is that at least this girl is looking for a kind and considerate guy.
Yes, and handsome.
A handsome, kind, and considerate guy,
Yeah.
not a rich guy.
Yeah.
Right, this is not Pretty Woman.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Right? So that's interesting. That's a kind of girl.
Yeah, and that's not, I don't think that's a very common perspective amongst women these days. I think most women want money. They want you to do, they have a list of things they want you to do for them. You need to take them to this restaurant that's all popular. You need to buy them this and buy them that. And I don't know.
I wonder. You're attracting the wrong kind of girl, maybe. You actually are a kind and considerate guy.
No, and then
this is what you're going to end up with. Where is she?
No. And then you I've been in so many situations where there's a term called a simp. Do you know what that is? A simp?
No.
Simp is like you basically do like you're head over heels for this girl. You'll do whatever. You throw flowers before she takes a step. You pick your jacket like. Basically being beyond a gentleman. Being beyond a gentleman. Like,
okay, yeah, you don't want to do that. That's not sincere.
Like you make minimum wage and you're spending all your money on this girl.
Right.
That's a simp.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a term for that, and I've simped out on some girls before, and they use you until they find a richer simp, or I don't know. I don't buy that in today's dating. Dating's hard today. Dating's very hard. Everyone has options. Like you said, we have apps. There's always something better. The grass is always greener on the other side. No one's content.
Apps.
Yeah.
How I hate that.
More than one app too. There's several different apps.
Of course.
The grass is always greener on the other side. No one's content with the person they find.
So it's become real algorithmic.
It is.
Now your friend didn't have that reaction. She had like an emotional reaction, right? She's like, "What a nice guy. I'd like a guy like this. This is a wonderful kind of guy." But maybe she wants that guy to take advantage of that guy.
Maybe.
But maybe she's sincere. See, I don't know.
Maybe it's sincere, but and then maybe this guy has a mask on, like you said.
It's interesting. Some people, they have a habit, like the apartment's a mess. You go there and it's just filthy. And you're like, the girl's immaculate. Yeah. But her car is full of garbage. Her house is full of garbage. They got cat poop in the house or something. Yeah. And you're like,
that's the worst.
It's repulsive beyond belief. And so... Yeah, I don't know. We're talking about this movie. I'm not qualified to rate it. As romantic comedies go,
I'd say you're qualified. Everyone's qualified to give your opinion on a film.
I think opinion should be educated. Yeah. It's like my wine analogy. Yeah. I can't rate wine.
Well, compare it to
me, the closer it is to Hawaiian Punch, the more I like it.
So what would be your favorite rom-com then?
Wow. I can't even. I don't have a list. I can name a few.
Just compare it to the few in your head.
But
before we get to that, real quick, I want to ask you: do you believe in love at first sight, Fred?
I think there's instant attraction, but who even knows what love is? Yeah. I think love is a long thing. Like you realize after many years that you love somebody and that you're never gonna turn your back on them. And the trouble with that, there's a problem with that too. And I've had that where there are deal breakers. So you're with somebody for many years, everything's going great, but then they do something that you can't live with. And there could be a number of things.
Kind of like in the movie, like when the dad said they just got...
Right.
Yeah.
Her father...
Yeah.
And mother had a great thing going on, but in their case, they lost the spark.
Yeah.
They came home and neither one of them were interested in the other. And that's horrible. And I've experienced that too. And that's the deal breaker. In other words, if you say to somebody, I'm going to love you forever, well, then you have to friggin' love them forever. You can't just dismiss them and just, lose interest or whatever. If you do, then you shouldn't be together.
Yeah.
because you want the magic of love in your life, and you don't want it to be dishonest about that. So love at first sight. There's obviously lust at first sight. There's obviously attraction. You know, you instantly. I mean, everybody has a first impression.
Yeah.
And I mean, you could have that just walking down the street, like whoa.
Yeah.
But a lot of times when that happens, you instantly find out there's something wrong, like they can't speak English.
I was gonna say more often than not, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we can't even talk to each other.
Yeah.
Okay, you just go. That's good. And I could tell you stories, as you can well imagine, and I'm sure you could too, about things like that going bad. But yeah, love at first sight. Boy, that's a long shot of a lifetime. That's got to be 1 in 100 or 1 in more than 100, or I can't even imagine. He would know. He would statistically know how many love at first sights were successful. Yeah. But I don't. And
I don't even think that's an appropriate name for this movie. It was kind of...
I didn't think of that. That's an interesting... Right, like what would... Okay, because I liked the script.
Dude, I'm not even a fan of the script.
Yeah, I mean, the ideas were...
Yeah.
Good, but they just, there was either a lack of authenticity or a lack of warmth. There was some kind of like spiritual element that was missing.
Yeah.
That made me just watch it very two-dimensionally. I didn't never at any point did I like anything like it was like whatever for an hour and a half, and it was like, so that's it.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to make a corn dog. I need comfort food. That's what I need now. Okay, so we rate these, and as I was saying, I'm not qualified to rate this.
Yeah.
There were things I liked. I did the movie. I wasn't angry. You know, I didn't feel like they owed me something or anything. I mean, I was a movie.
Fortunately, it was only an hour and a half, so.
5 is if you're 50-50, so I'm going to rate this a 4.
I'm going to agree with you on the 4. I'm going to agree with you on the 4.
What's your rationale?
It didn't touch me. Like you said earlier, like I was just like, okay, whatever. Like, what time is it? Who's texting me? Okay, whatever. I didn't care. I didn't care about the characters.
I just was...
I cared about the mom and the dad more than anything.
Right,
they weren't
his mom and dad.
Yeah, and they weren't even the main characters, so.
Right. Yeah, so 50-50 is a 5. It was a bump. It was a bump less than
it was a
that.
bump
So
less than 50-50.
I'm going to give it a 4. And watch it. It might be the perfect thing for you.
It might be great for you.
This is one of these movies that I really want the comments in the comment section, because I think I almost have like a lot to learn.
Yeah.
So if you want to do that, if you want to leave a comment and say why I'm all wet for giving it a 4 and why you think it's a masterpiece, it should be number 1 and all that stuff, I'm ready to read and learn.
So check it out, guys. Love at First Sight. It's on Netflix. Currently, it's ranked the #1 rom-com, even though we said there's no comedy in it. But I'm Shane Schildmeyer.
I am Fred Satilli.
And thank you guys for watching The Real Generation Gap. All right, guys, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know what you guys think about this movie, if you're gonna watch it, what we should review next. Let us know if you believe in love at first sight, because we had no love at first sight for this film. Catch you guys at the next one, The Real Generation Gap.